Hi guys, Krishna Connect here. I'm coming to you today with a finally finished item and some plans for upcoming items. So first, I finally finished the Afghan that I'm making for my friend for a wedding gift. A very belated wedding gift now because she got married last November. I actually started this in August, and then I slacked a lot after that, and so that's why it took me so long to get it done. But it's finally done. It's still, I added another row to the length, so it did get to the correct length size, which is 60 inches. But the width is supposed to be 48 inches, and I just measured 38 inches. So it's just gonna stay too narrow. That's fine. The only way to get more onto the width would be to add more motifs to one of the sides, and then that would make the length look disproportionate again, and I'd have to add more to the length, and I don't have time for that. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. I'm gonna try to stand up so you can get a better idea of what it looks like. So there it is. I can't move back very much because there's a wall right here. But yeah, so that is that. It is rows of 4 circular motifs across with hearts in them. And yeah, so so this particular friend I have known for over 20, almost 30 years, I think now. We grew up on the same street. And she and her sister and I hung out a lot. And for my wedding, because they're crafty people too, and so for my wedding, they gave me a handmade quilt. And so for her sister's wedding, I gave her an Afghan, which I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now. And I did make videos about that Afghan. I will post the link to the video of the finished product down below if I can find it. In case anyone's interested in that. And so then, obviously I had to make her one too for her wedding, so now we're all even. I went out last week and bought a flat rate shipping box, so I just have to, I still have to weave in the ends from the edging. I don't know where they went now. Oh, here. Couple ends here from the edging, and then I'm going to wash it, hopefully. Doing a washing and blocking might get a couple of more inches in the width, I'm hoping. And then so I'm just going to wash it and pack it up, fold it as small as I can into this box, and ship it off because my friend lives in Toronto and I live about 2 hours west of Toronto. So yeah, so that will be shipped off as soon as possible. So a little bit about the pattern, just to remind everybody, because I think I only mentioned this at the beginning when I first started this. I got the pattern from this Crochet Gifts for All Occasions special issue of Crochet World magazine. It came out a couple of years ago. It was a spring 2018, also a year ago, spring 2018 issue. It is very worn now because half of the pattern is in the middle of the magazine, and then it continues at the end of the magazine, so I had to keep flipping back and forth because half of the circular motif is in the first part, and then half is in the second part, and then the finishing and the squares and stuff were in the second part, and I had to also keep flipping back and forth because all the special stitches are listed in the first part. So I had to keep, and I couldn't remember them all, so I had to keep flipping back and forth to the special stitches, and so now this magazine is very worn out. So if I ever find another copy in better condition, like at a used bookstore or something in the future, I might pick it up. I mean, it's not in bad condition. It's just really creased and crumpled now from being in my crochet bag, but that's okay. So yeah, so it is called the Heart Keepsake Throw. Just a quick flash there so you can see the title. And so that is what it's supposed to look like completed. The yarn it called for was Plymouth Yarn Encore Worsted Medium. I have never heard of that. I don't think we have that in stores here. And so, as I mentioned previously, I used Karen Simply Soft because I just like how it feels and I like how it drapes and stuff. But I forgot that Karen Simply Soft is a lot thinner than other worsted weights, so I should have used a bigger hook. I didn't do a gauge swatch. Bad me. So that's why I had to add an extra row to this. I also kind of changed up the color a little bit. This gray here, Karen does have a gray very similar to that, but I decided to go with this Karen Simply Soft Tweed because I thought it might be a little more interesting with the little specks of color. However, I was not very pleased with this yarn because the tweed is just like little flecks that aren't even really woven into the yarn very well. They fall out very easily, as you can, I don't know if you can see that on this camera. It's not a very good camera, but see the little specks of color just pull out really easily. I had a lot of these falling out while I was crocheting, and the yarn splits very easily as well. I had a lot of splitting issues. So yeah, I don't know if I would recommend this. You know, I mean, it looks nice, but it falls apart really easily. I don't know. So that's what I used. And the orange in the middles of the motifs, I just used a random skein I had in my stash that had a missing label. It's been missing for years, so I can't even remember what that yarn is. But luckily I had enough of it. So yeah, so that was the yarn I used. And it called for an H hook, which I did use, but I should have used a bigger one because Karen Simply Soft. But yeah, so I used an H hook, and then for the edging here, I decided to go up a size and I used an I hook, because when I was doing the edging with the H hook, you couldn't really, the shells weren't really defined much. You couldn't really tell that they were shells. So I decided to go up a size so that the shells would be a bit more defined, and it might add a little bit more size to the overall Afghan, maybe. But yeah, so it turned out pretty cute, that edging there. So I am overall I'm pretty pleased with this Afghan, and I am so glad to finally be done and be able to move on to another project. I think that's all I had to say about this project. Yeah, so future plans. I can finally move on to baby items really late because I am due in like 5 weeks. So I'm not going to get very much done before this baby comes. And I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get done after the baby comes. Because my daughter still naps in the afternoon sometimes. But I don't know. You just never know. All babies are different. So I don't know if this baby is going to be a quiet baby like her or not. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have in the afternoons anymore. But the next thing I'm going to crochet is this baby sweater. I actually got this. This was one of those, you know, the free patterns that are just like hanging on the yarn shelves in the store, free to take. I got this a long time ago, I think before my first daughter was born, and I'd never got around to crocheting this before she was born. I had it planned to make, but I just never got to it, and so I'm going to make it in pink, because I have this Bernat baby coordinates. My mom found a whole bag of these a long time ago when I first started crocheting, and I just never knew anyone with a baby girl to use this for, so it's just been sitting in my stash for a long time. And then I was thinking of making like a baby blanket out of it when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and then so many people gave us blankets. I'm like, no, we don't. And I already had plans for another blanket, which I did make and show in a video. It was, I just made a big granny square blanket in like purple and yellow. And so we had so many blankets. I'm like, no, I don't need to make any more blankets. So then I was going to make this sweater out of it, and then I just never got to it. So this sweater is made out of Bernat Softy Baby, which is their newest type of baby yarn I think they have. This is not, they don't make this anymore. This is a really old Bernat baby yarn, but it's still sport weight. This yarn is also sport weight, so I think it'll probably work. I will do a gauge swatch this time first to make sure. But I'm a little apprehensive because it's the kind of yarn that has a thread wrapped around it, and I didn't have a very good time working with this when I used a similar yarn to make my daughter's dress last year. So I'm hoping this goes a little better than that. We will see. I have several skeins of this. I'll probably only need like one to make it, because I'm going to make the 6-month size. Because by 6 months it'll be like November, December. So it'll be perfect sweater weather for my baby. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to make next. And I'm also, at some point, going to start a Christmas stocking for this baby. You may remember, I think it was a couple years ago now, I made a Christmas stocking it was like a stocking shaped snowman for my daughter with a scarf on it. And so I'm going to make, I'll try to find the video where I showed that and link it down below, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to try to do something similar, but with a penguin maybe, I'm thinking. I was also thinking maybe gingerbread man or reindeer, but then it'll be like a mostly brown stocking, like in the style I'm thinking of making it. So that wouldn't be too festive looking. Although this one will be mostly black. I don't know. I'll see. I've still been searching around on the internet for stocking ideas, but I think I want to go with penguin, because it'll look kind of coordinated with the snowman-ish. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's what I'm thinking so far. When I have a more solid idea, I will show it in another video. But yeah, so that's my plans for upcoming crochet, sweater, and stocking. And I think that's all I have to talk about today. I hope everybody's been having a good start to spring. Our weather is kind of warming up, but it's still really rainy. At least there's no more snow. And the forecast is not calling for snow anymore. So touch wood, no more snow until next winter. And yeah, so I guess that's it. So I hope everybody's been having a good week, and happy crafting.